Hello, and welcome to Life Rhythms, Tarot, Food, and Spirit. Today I've been very spontaneously inspired to embark on my first video response to Leisa over at Tarot Alchemist, and she has put forward a spread that is essentially a spread for healing our experience or exploring and potentially offering some healing to our experience, our personal experiences of our first menses. So I believe the proper hashtag is Menarche Healing Spread. So I'll get that properly noted in the notes below. But I'm offering that this is what the spread will be, and if you have any issue with talking about menstrual blood or women's bodies, you'll probably want to turn the video off now. It is a 6-question spread, and I've drawn the cards, but I have not turned them over, so it's a it's a journey that will go on together in unison here. But I first wanted to offer this first paragraph from Barbara G. Walker, the Woman's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. And under menstrual blood, of course, she has many pages in here on this topic. It's fascinating, the history of how our blood has been related to in different cultures around the world, especially in pre-patriarchal times. Very fascinating read, but I'll just read this first paragraph. From the earliest human cultures, the mysterious magic of creation was thought to reside in the blood women gave forth in apparent harmony with the moon, and which was sometimes retained in the womb to coagulate into a baby. Men regarded this blood with holy dread, as the life essence inexplicably shed without pain, wholly foreign to the male experience. So I offer that not because I am in any way suggesting that men, especially as we've moved forward, don't try to relate to this experience, but they simply can't. It's not an experience that they have. So, and it's a potent one, and I guess I take this as my first video response. I take this on because it's also something that I've been exploring in terms of initiation, and as we get it, or the lack of initiation that we have as we move through our life journeys, in our life experiences. So from birth through childhood, and then childhood moving into puberty, and then moving into adulthood, and moving into motherhood, or manhood or fatherhood, and then moving into menopause for women, and men go through a menopause as well. This change in our vital life energy, and these are things that are not derogatory, but they are often seen as such because we don't have the proper ceremony to carry us through each of these phases, which are a natural part of living and being embodied in a human body. So, and then of course the final initiation, which is passing from the body and back into our whole Holy Spirit, if you will. But back onto the topic of this first initiation for young women. And so the first question here for this spread is, what was my first experience with my menses? So this is a storytelling. This is not, I don't know what these cards are going to be, but it'll be interesting to see what they reveal and how they perhaps enrich my story, or my history, her story, right, of that experience in my life. So the card that comes up, and I'm using the Mother Peace Tarot deck, which is just the first deck I ever had, and it is a deck close to my heart, and it's a very feminine deck for me. And it is the Ten of Wands. So in this card, there is so much energy, and there's celebration, and there's creative power, and a release, all manners of ways to release creative energy. And it's the culmination of experience, of creative energy experience, and it's in a group, and it's probably exactly what I might have been hoping for as a young woman, not really knowing that. Something that I thought about later, as I got into my later teens and early 20s, like, well, why didn't I have this experience? I will say that my own personal experience was not like this at all. I just remember feeling I remember feeling very different one evening. Something was different, and then there was the blood, and then at that time, of course there were tampons, but and thankfully that was not introduced to me. It was a big pad with a belt, not even the kind of pads that stick onto your underwear now. It's like the belt, that whole shebang. And then I got to sleep in my parents' bed. I don't know where my father was, but I remember that night, or the next couple of nights, I slept in my parents' bed. But it certainly wasn't like it was a celebration. But I was separated from my brothers, with whom I shared a room at that time. And I was young. I was on the younger side. I think it was 11 when my first menses arrived. So we'll move on to the second question. I can't even read my own writing. What was the message that I received around this experience? And well, another powerful image here, the Daughter of Discs. And again, I don't know it was the message that I received, but perhaps so far these two cards are saying, oh, these are the messages that I would have loved to have received, that this is a powerful time of vision questing, and that when one is experiencing their menstrual flow, that it's a time of connecting deeply with the earth, and with one's vision, and how one might dream themselves into being in the world, and how they want to manifest their dreams in the world. A time of real personal magic. So again, it wasn't really what was communicated to me, although I was set apart for at least this first few times that I bled, but it wasn't because it was with this message of, oh, go forth and meditate and see what creative things might be birthed forth from that. So, and again, so perhaps more what I would have hoped would have occurred. And so then leading to the third question, what was the message I needed to receive? Well, maybe the Daughter of Discs would have been nice, but let's see what card comes for me. Well, so this is also interesting, and these are very potently beautiful. I needed to receive, the cards are saying, the Magician, that this is a time of alchemy and magic, and that when we are given the tools to go in the red tent, if you will. I had many dreams about that in my late teens and early 20s. Why do we not have the red tent? And now 30 years later, people are trying to create these experiences for young women. And I think also for women moving from the mother to the crone phase, which I am now find myself in. Oh, wow. So strange to think of that, but it's the fact. And it's strange for me to think about because we don't have a community, a circle for that, holding all of us. So, and perhaps one of my dreams maybe to manifest would be to start to create that kind of community for us. But what message would I have liked to have received? Yes, that I be given those tools and to go into my creative space and to be in the wonderment of what is possible and the alchemy that's possible, the magic that's possible during that time when the veil is thinner for women and our intuition and our senses are much more heightened, and what can be created out of that time. Yes, that it's a magical time. So what was the support that I needed? So those two questions seem similar, and please forgive me, Leisa, if I didn't see the questions written anywhere, so I was just following along as you did the video yourself. So I hope I got these correct. What was the support that I did need? And wow, so this is interesting. 7 of Swords. I'm not sure what this feels like to me. The support that I needed was that I needed to feel safe, and this probably does speak more to my actual experience, was that I know that I did not really feel safe. That I was separated off, and then kind of left to my own devices as to how to deal with this transition. Like, and that how was I now going to go to school with this big waistband and pad and bulky thing, and just on a practical level, and feel comfortable, or feel like I didn't feel like I was being initiated into any group of people that were going to come together and hold me, and I definitely was already somewhat of a worried and anxious child. So yeah, how was I didn't feel safe. So I I didn't have that support. So this card isn't really, I needed to feel safe, and I didn't. I didn't feel that mental and emotional and group energy coming together to support me. And how did this affect my life moving forward? And here we have the Strength card. And so for me, it really did become, I did really become a solopreneur, if you will. That I saw all of my own experiences, whether it be from yoga to how I fed myself to what I read to how I nourished. I knew I had to nourish myself, and that I wasn't really going to get it from any kind of initiation. So I had to initiate myself, and so I had to build my own fortitude. And so that is how it affected my life moving forward. But I don't think I ever really figured out how to bring that into community. And that's something that I am entirely wanting to do now. And it's part of the thrust of me wanting to become more involved with this online community of tarot readers, especially because of my own personal circumstances right now, that I can't physically go out into the world as easily as I once did, dealing with the cancer diagnosis that I have and the physical limitations that I have with that. So wanting to create community now and expand and bring strength to others, strength that perhaps I didn't have. And so how can I heal? How can this be healed? How can I heal? And wow, so we're left here with the Tower. So it's perhaps disrupting the ways of how these passages, these rites of passage are handled, or rather not handled yet, and finding ways to offer paths of initiation. So perhaps that's, work for me to think about how I can offer and support others, which is really what I am doing with the work that I offer through Bone Root Herb, my coaching, and the Descent to the Goddess program that I offer, and the tarot counseling. So in a way, I am moving into that, wanting to disrupt the less than satisfying ways that young women especially are they don't have the resources to make these transitions as gracefully and creatively and wholesomely. Our world is not as wholesome as it once was, and that probably hasn't been for many years, but I think that we can reclaim that, and I think that that is something that's worthwhile to think about reclaiming, because there is so much strife and sadness and sorrow in our faces all the time, but from the inside we can cultivate a wholesomeness. And so perhaps this is part of building a new arc. And I think I'll leave it at that. And I thank you for sitting through with this, if you have. And I really thank Leisa. I've watched several of your online, your YouTube videos, and you're always very moving, and I was glad to be moved to take the leap and do my first offer my first video response. And thank you all so much, and until we meet again at Life Rhythms, Tarot, Food, and Spirit, and perhaps we'll offer some food in honor of our nourishing our womanhood in one of our upcoming videos. Until then, be well.